on where the furnace is.
Money making money making money.
Come on, you gotta tell me, how is this even possible?
It's easy. 1, you take your money and you put it in this secret spot. 2, you let that money grow with compound interest. 3, then you find a place for that money to go where it can work for you. 4, and then every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, you join me for a wealth webinar.
I'll do it.
It's free. Plus, if you join me now, you'll get my free ebook that teaches you to get all the money back for every car you buy, drive, and own. So take advantage of this opportunity and I'll see you there.
Hey, are you ready to take control of your financial future? Welcome to Private Money Club. Private Money Club is the ultimate online platform connecting real estate entrepreneurs with private money lenders just like you. Whether you're looking to fund your next deal or lend money to grow your wealth, Private Money Club is your go-to resource. You can post deals, find funding, connect with other like-minded professionals. It's just a community. It's a community that you need to plug into. If you're new to the game, no problem. Our Learn platform and our weekly coaching webinars and our on-demand resources are here to guide you every step of the way. Join a thriving network of real estate experts who are already making an impact and they're waiting to partner with you. So Private Money Club gives you the tools, the training, the connections, and everything you need to achieve your financial goals. So why don't you start now by going to privatemoneyclub.com. We'll see you inside. Hey, you need to become your own bank. And it's as simple as changing one thing, and that is where your money goes first. I mean, think about it. Household debts in this country are at all-time highs. You got tons of market volatility. You got the potential for Social Security running out of money. You've got global uncertainty, political divide, and you have to figure out where you're going to put your hard-earned savings. I mean, this is one of those times in history where the rich are getting richer, and it is time to learn the secrets of the wealthy. But here's the good news. Every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I put on a free webinar where I teach you how to take back control of your money by teaching you how to become your own bank. So click the link below and let's get started.
So let's go into the app, because the app was created after a dating site, believe it or not. So people with money and people that need money. Phone, swipe left. Swipe left. Ooh, I like that one. Swipe right. You want to go on. If you got money, you want to swipe left through all the deals. When you find one you like, boom, you're connected. How much more difficult does this really need to be? This isn't rocket science. They want you to think it is because they want control of your money. It is time to take back control of our money. I want to invite you to a free interactive webinar that we're doing to teach you how to get prepared for what's about to happen and how you can grow, preserve, and protect your wealth and get it ready for a recession or maybe the next Great Depression. So all I need you to do is click the link below. You're not going to want to miss this with all this stuff going on. Are you sick of having your money lying around not doing anything? Well, we've got the solution for you. PrivateMoneyClub.com. Back to you, Chris. So that's what it is. Private Money Club was created for you and for all of us. So I've got something special. Since you're here, you're listening to us talk to you about the infinite banking concept, I wanted to make an offer. Private Money Club is something that will benefit each of you, but we've got what's called the Accelerator. The Private Money Club Accelerator is a coaching program that takes together the knowledge that you'll need to be your own bank and puts it together with the opportunities in Private Money Club so that now you learn and apply the knowledge. Check it out. We got a very special offer for you to be part of the next Accelerator coaching program and get you into Private Money Club so your money starts working for you.
Hey everybody, it's Buff Finance Guy here, ready to show you how to make some serious gains, but not only in the gym, with your wallet too. Most people put their money in the bank doing absolutely nothing for them, but I'm gonna show you how it doesn't have to be that way. So take Andrew here. His money has just been sitting lazy in the bank, but all he has to do is change one thing, and that's where the money goes first, and everything changes. Just change where your money goes first, silly.
Wait, just one change?
Yeah, that's it. Instead of sending it to the bank, you send it to your very own banking system. And your money can grow and get stronger, just like me.
It's time for Money School TV. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
He's been on the fence to come to PMC Money Tank. I'm telling you right now, you're missing out on a treat.
This is the ultimate watering hole for lenders and borrowers.
If you've got decent deals, you'll find the funding for it.
The networking here has been fantastic.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Tremendously beneficial.
Oh my gosh, so many people to network with.
First day, I probably met 5 or 6 people. They show me ideas, I show them ideas. We're actually on stage about 20 minutes ago, and since then, I've already had about 20 people reach out.
There are several people that I probably will be doing business with.
I have like 15 private lenders ready to fund my deals. The people here are amazing and so welcoming.
You walk in, everyone greets you right away. No one is a stranger.
It's just an amazing and comfortable place to be.
There's so much stuff that I've been able to learn that I didn't know. I've had aha moments over and over again.
They talked about normal rates of return, not 6%, we're talking about 10%, but in a way that's ethically sound and stable. It's full disclosure, but helps walk you through everything. They even talk about it on stage of like, we've already made the mistakes, so here we are, and we're teaching you to not make the same mistakes. You get to learn from us, you get to just follow our direction and just see what you can do. I've gotten great things out of the virtual events, but there's no comparison to actually coming here, experiencing the energy, and getting to meet all of the people. Everyone is here looking to grow in some capacity. Being in this environment, it allows you to feed on that and foster that.
During the event, they had a lender-borrower meet and greet, which is pretty cool. It's different when you can spend some time, have a meal together, hang out, joke around. The people are just a blast.
It's so much fun.
The community of the Money Tank PMC, the whole crew with Chris, Stephen, Jonah, everybody, and Joe, they've all helped me out. It's been changing my life.
You're gonna learn something, you're gonna meet someone, and it's definitely gonna make a big difference in your business. Not by a little bit, but by a lot.
I mean, you could stay stuck thinking you can do it on your own. There's a lot of people that I talk to, their issue, and then they come here, and I talk to them a year later, and they've grown so much just by coming to this event.
Started $15,000 in credit card debt. As of today, I have $550,000 out in private lending. That's what this teaches you.
I tell people all the time, you have to get in the room to be around the like-minded people.
Go. It's worth it.
Just come. Do it for yourself. Do it for your business.
Take action. You got to do it.
Come to the event, you don't want to miss it.
Well, the biggest thing I hope that people get is something that they can actually apply in their lives. You know, that's the biggest thing for any of these events that we want. We want people to leave here not just riled up, not just excited, but actually going out and doing something that'll put them in a better financial situation, help their family. And for the speakers, my goal is that they go out and they impact the audience and bring something the audience never had exposure to that allows them to then fill in that piece that they're looking for. I'm going to be talking about more lease options. I'm going to be talking about equity shares. I'm going to be talking about a bunch of fun stuff today. Because again, I'm not here to teach about how to do those deals. I'm here to teach about how to invest in those deals.
Filled with individuals that are like-minded, that are at the top of their craft, they're at the top of their game. And for anybody that's an attendee, it's just a mind-blowing experience.
It's almost going to be hard to speak anywhere else but here because it was such a great experience. I felt like, I don't know. It was amazing. Nothing less than amazing, literally.
At the PMC Money Tank event, which is an epic event that we're putting together that does one thing and one thing only, makes everybody money. It brings people with money together with people that need money. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You just smash them together and everybody wins.
Wednesday, 5:30, 10:30 Eastern Standard magic time. Going live!
All right, we are back and live for another week of What the F is Happening. Notice how I didn't say what the F happened. I said what the F is happening. Yeah, you guys all know what we're talking about. Lots of stuff going on. Well, let's just kick it off with some of the things we're going to talk about on this. We're going to talk about Walmart. Walmart's making sure that they're efficient so that you, the customer, saves, right? Because they're replacing all paper tags with these digital screens. Over 1 billion digital screens. They're going to provide pricing for all their goods and services. Wait till you hear what this is all about. They're going to spin it so that it's efficiency, so that it reduces costs for the customers. It's not that at all. It's all about screwing the customer, taking more from customers who can pay more and less from customers who can't, and not levelizing the whole system. So are we going from retail to a completely fixed pricing structure? And will that be the only one? Not only that, we're going to talk about energy, big time energy. Australia. You love them, right? The great outback, if you will, or however they say that. But Australia is running out of diesel. Yeah, they've got like 30 some days worth of diesel left. And I don't know if you know a thing or two about Australia. Diesel's pretty freaking important, but they can't refine their own diesel. So because of this Iran war and because of the blockades, they can't get that. But Cuba's a whole nother story. Cuba's in total darkness. You know, they're trying to get a regime change and they're basically just cutting it off. What kind of suffering's happening because of that? I mean, well, I guess really you could kind of frame this whole thing up that it is pretty important for everybody to figure out how to own their own energy. Kind of like what we always talk about. It's pretty important that you all learn how to take back control of your money. Well, it's the same thing. Countries better figure out how to take back control of their own energy, and they don't have that figured out. And we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the Senate. Yep, they're getting ready to take their long recess while 60,000 TSA agents are going without paychecks. We're going to talk about that a little bit because I'm kind of calling bullshit just a wee little bit. I've been traveling, and I'm not going to lie. It's kind of like traveling during COVID. There's nobody at the airports. There was no line at all. I mean, you literally walked right through the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. And I've heard this from many people who have traveled saying, man, there's no lines. But I guess if you're in LaGuardia where airplanes, you know, are told to land, which then crash and people die, there might be lines there. Anyway, we're going to dive into that one a little bit. And we're going to get a little weird and talk about a pack of dogs escaping a meat truck and how the dogs were able to find their way back home with proper leadership, no GPSs, no phones to guide them, just raw sense. But yet we can't get Congress to pass a one-page bill. Anyway, these are just some of the topics, but I'm also going to be joined here by Mr. St. James and Mr. Snaggy in the house. What's happening, gentlemen?
What's going on, WTF? Man, it has been one busy week going on in this last part of Q1. I mean, come on, dogs being able to find their ways home. It sounds like a Disney movie in the making. And as much as a lot of people love America's #1 in-person retailer, we're talking about Walmart, are they being a little bit more dubious than what's really going on? I can't wait to discuss this with you and seeing with you guys at WTF what your spin on all this is as well. What about you, Nagy?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm catching up, man. I was took a little break last week, out doing some spring skiing with the family, and you know, you kind of cut away when you're at those mountain villages. Everything is roses and bubbly, and yeah, I did fly out to Colorado. Same experience with Chris. No problem leaving Palm Beach. No problem arriving in Denver, connecting through Atlanta, and vice versa coming back. There was no wait coming back through Denver. Now, I will say that, you know, on CNN, I know they've been sitting in Atlanta airport, and Atlanta seemed to have long lines. I mean, you see some of this anecdotal stuff from people on social media with home videos, but I think the news is hyped. I think it's kind of bullshit too, but yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more. And travel season. And if you guys have any spring break trips coming up, anybody going anywhere, anybody canceling plans? Because I'm just curious, put it over in the chat box. But a lot to catch up on today.
Steven, they better not be canceling their trip to the good old money tank. That's going to be pretty darn epic.
Yeah, man, coming up quickly. And of course, tomorrow morning, starting the virtual event. No reason to fly anywhere. You're going to be sitting right on your home computer for the next 3 days, all day tomorrow, all day Friday, all day Saturday. We got a hell of a show planned out for you. I'm super excited for it. I've been talking about it all week. Any of you guys catch any of my previews I've done this week during the evenings, but really looking forward to that. But yeah, let's dig into the news here today and see what we got, Chris.
All right. Well, I figure why not just start and get right into it? James, what topic should we be hitting on? Should we hit the economy or?
Let's go the economy. Let's start off right with the economy. I want to talk about Walmart. Let's talk
All right, Walmart it is. James, kick this topic off because, I mean, listen, Walmart's just, they're all about saving money for their customers and providing the cheapest price for their customers. But who is their customer, and are they different, and are they priced? Are different people paying different prices? This is actually sickening and scary. But James, kick this one off.
Yeah, this is a pretty dynamic story coming out of Arkansas. As you know, that's where the headquarters of Walmart is at. And what they've done is they've actually secured the patent for small little screens that go in place of price tags. And what's going to happen is it's going to be similar to how you see Uber. There's going to be surge pricing. So let's just say that milk is a very, very, hot item going on. Well, what's going to happen is there's going to be an increase, a small little increase in price, maybe 10 cents, 20 cents, but it's going to adjust based upon the period of the day. And it's a lot of people are crying foul because they're saying, well, wait a minute, this isn't fair, because just because milk is something that's very, very, important right now, maybe turkeys are going to go up and down in terms of price, especially around Thanksgiving. And we're not talking just turkeys over the course of the week. We're talking to the minute, and there will be an algorithm driven type of pricing that will be going up and down throughout the course of the day, similar to surge pricing that we see in like apps like Uber and in like shopping apps like DoorDash. And a lot of people aren't excited about this. And what if it comes down to the actual shopper themselves? Imagine this: you have a black card, so you're already so that people see the marketing teams behind all of this see, hey, we've got a high net worth customer here. It doesn't make sense for you to actually pay more as opposed to a single mom. Should the single mom pay more for formula because it's a need? And it's this level of algorithmic pricing that people should really be aware of. Nagy, what are you thinking about this here?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are spot on with it. I don't really have much to add there. It seems like all these companies are trying to do this crazy pricing stuff and demographics. And, Dexter was just talking about that, depending on the zip codes that you're in. I mean, so I guess it's the way of the future. I don't know if they're supposed to be doing it. Yeah,
it's kind of like it's like a double whammy. I mean, you got number one, think about how many Walmart's huge. Think about how many employees have a job, and part of their job is, just repricing goods and services, the rollback pricing. And, then there's marketing teams that have to go out and make all the marketing stuff that, goes into the pricing. If you've ever been to Walmart, like they have pretty elaborate kind of rollback signage and all this stuff. But if it all goes digital, I mean, a very, very small team, I almost would think one person could just go in and set the algorithms across. But I mean, is there even a need for anyone to do any of that? I mean, now it's all digital. It's all run by AI. No one needed for all that stuff. It's just all algorithmic based pricing. And I think about it here in Buffalo. We get blizzards, and James, you're very familiar with this. Steven doesn't have a clue what we're about to talk about here.
We got hurricanes though, bro.
Yeah, you guys have hurricanes, so same difference. But the news will come out and it'll say, there's a blizzard coming and there's a run of the grocery stores. Like they literally get cleaned out. So with this kind of thing, Walmart would simply know that there's a blizzard coming, know that there's going to be a run on the store's groceries, and jack the price up. During that period of time, people get screwed. They buy all their goods and service, and then pricing goes back down during the slow times and up during the busy times. I don't know how that's, listen, it's capitalistic, but it might not be fair. Some people would be like, oh, that can't be illegal. Well, why can't it be? Sure.
And Dexter says, if people want to stop it, don't shop there. No protest needed. But the challenge though is in a lot of these communities,
that's all.
Something like a Walmart is the only game in town.
Yeah,
they really have no option, especially if there's a storm coming or if there's a serious need for something. And so, it's not always as simple as just don't shop there. But I do agree with that.
Right. I mean, There is a little bit of a tag on labor. I mean, if you're somebody who's depending on working at Walmart, let's just say part-time to reduce debt or whatever cause that you're looking for, well, now the person that goes around and changes all those tags doesn't effectively have a job anymore, but that is the price of technology. On another end, though, is it going to make sense to start shopping at off-peak times? Like, imagine going for a Walmart run. I'm not sure if there's any more 24-hour Walmarts anymore, but going into Walmart and saying, you know what, I'm going to wait till 11 o'clock because that's when the prices are cheaper. We do that with airlines already.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of that. I understand that price fluctuation does have to happen in terms of supply and demand and all those types of things. But in terms of it being to the minute, to the day, it's going to take me a while to wrap my head around it. I'm pretty powerless about this. I'm really more concerned about mass adoption. If Target does this, then it could roll out across a whole bunch of different platforms. And I'm sure that Amazon probably does this already as well.
Well, the airlines do this. They know what days and times people are online booking flights, and they literally adjust. There's websites you can go to that tell you like the best days and times to go book a flight for the best prices. I mean, and let's not forget, Walmart has done shady practices forever. I mean, they were sued. If you think about infinite banking, I mean, Chris, you know this story, right?
Yeah. I mean, Walmart used to, when someone would get hired, Walmart would take out a policy on all the employees and there'd be no economic benefit for the employee. But when that employee died, Walmart got a check and the family didn't even know. Family might like barely be able to pay for the funeral, but Walmart just got a big check and they got popped huge for that.
Oh yeah.
And they swept it right under the rug.
But it's kind of funny when you think about it. It's like, I don't know what the fines were and what the penalties were that they got slapped with, but like they're probably laughing, be like, yeah, go ahead, fine us. Like we got death benefits totaling X, hundreds of millions, and you guys find us, 50 million. Like here's your check. That's how those big companies operate.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's going to be a big win for shareholders because they're going to say, yeah, we got maximum profit extraction. It's market optimization and a whole bunch of other corporate speak. But what does it mean in terms of the consumer? Are they going to respond in kind? We've seen pressure across department stores happen before. We saw massive bans against Target where people are like, I'm boycotting Target. And this entire community, both from the right and the left side, said, no, we're not going to do it. And a lot of people shifted over to Walmart and shopping at local retailers. So I think the prime determinant about this is once it becomes public knowledge, once people start seeing these small little digital readouts in place in lieu of the traditional tags, people are going to say, well, what does this mean? And it'll eventually spread through social media. And consumer groups and consumer advocacy groups may say, you know what, this isn't fair. We understand that there's a market, there's a supply and demand, but pricing us in surge pricing, we're not a fan of that. Or some people are just going to say, you know what, I don't care. I love my Walmart and I need to buy some bananas. Maybe the brown ones will be on sale.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I got a comment here from Hammer Success Systems. He says, dynamic pricing is real, legitimate process. I mean, listen, like he's right. Like this, what we're talking about here, love it, hate it, it is a legitimate process. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But let's move this thing over to the second story. And this was a good find. This might be a bit high level for some folks. Also, too, I want to point out this afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing Wealth Webinar. We've got an unbelievable show today. So if you all, want to get ahead financially, if you want to learn how your dollars can make money twice on the same thing you're doing today, if you want to build wealth through your own debts and expenses, then join us at 1 p.m. Eastern. And how you join is you just go to chrisnaugle.com, Naugle. 2 finger swipes down, you'll see Wealth Webinar and just click register. No cost for it at all. As a matter of fact, you get my 3 books. You get them totally free just for registering, and then join us for that at 1 p.m. So that's going to be a pretty epic show. And this weekend is going to be even more epic. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we got the Blueprint virtual training, which the last time we did this was a massive success. We had so much feedback come back. People loved it. So if any of you want to join us this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's a live virtual event. If you can't make it, then get the VIP ticket, and then you get all the recordings time-stamped and edited. But we'll put that right over here in the chat so you guys can all sign up and join us either this afternoon at 1 or this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But I want to talk about the Treasury. Actually, specifically, I want to talk about the negative net position. This is kind of alarming. I mean, you all know this. But like now we're going to put some numbers to this. James found a really good article, and we're going to just call this a bombshell. This financial report is not easy to find. You can't just go out. It's not on CNN, CNBC, Fox News. None of them are reporting any of these stories. But that's the beauty of this show, is we get into the weeds on some of the stuff that no one wants you to know about, or at least I should say the government doesn't want you to know about it. So here's what it is. This is as of 2025. There was a report that was very quietly put out by the Treasury Department, and this just happened last week. So this is hot, fresh off the press, and it showed the U.S. government has $6.06 trillion in assets. That's what the article said. U.S. government has $6.06 trillion in assets. What does everybody think about that? Like, that's pretty good, right? Okay. We have to start asking questions of compared to what? Okay, that's the most important thing. Okay, great news. Compared to what? Well, let me put the compared to 47.78 trillion in liability. So we got 6 trillion and some change in assets, and we got 47.78 trillion in liabilities, which gives a negative, if you can just do the simple math, a negative net position of negative 41.72 trillion. But that's basically the government admitting that it is structurally completely insolvent. Now, just imagine, like, you're in debt let's just say 47,000. We'll just make this simple. You're in debt $47,000, right? And you've got $6,000 in assets. Are you feeling good about it?
Heck no.
That's not feeling good, right? Just add some zeros, and that's what we're looking at here. But see, there's another thing that you're not looking at. So now, remember, you got $6,000 in assets. You owe $47,000. Okay, so you're not feeling really good. But then coming down the pipeline, you have a bunch of liabilities that you're going to have to fund. Things that today you don't own, but you're going to owe them in the future. Like, you got daycare bills that are going to have to get paid. You got your children's schooling that is going to have to get paid. You got unfunded things that you know you're going to have to meet. Well, the government has those too. Yeah. Only though it's not all that much. They call these off balance sheet, because they're not reported on their balance sheet, off balance sheet promises. These little promises are things like, Social Security. I know none of you care about that. Medicare, none of you are using Medicare. But those total 88.4 trillion. So hold on, let's go back. We had a $41.72 trillion negative, right? Remember the 6 and the 47. But now if we add the off-balance sheet promises, and they are certainly promises, and believe me, if people don't get their Social Security checks or their Medicare benefits, they're not voting for that candidate. So you're never going to hear politicians address this, never going to hear this come out. But the total federal obligations hit 136.2 trillion, 5 times the U.S. GDP. Anyway, I don't even know what else to say. You guys want to hit on that one?
There's something interesting about this, because right now the interest on the U.S. debt is using what Einstein called, one of the 8 wonders of the world, which is compound interest. And even if U.S. productivity, I think even if it doubled, it still wouldn't cover the interest payments, because it's compounding at such a ginormous rate. So the question is like, what does the U.S. have to do? What is it going to have to make to fix this particular problem?
There's only one solution. You know that, right?
I think that it's more than one solution, and there's a number of new ways to come about it. What do you feel that it is?
Well, the only way to do it is grow productivity, grow GDP. It's the only way out.
But even if we doubled like our productivity, which would increase GDP, which would take a long period of time, it still would outpace how fast it's growing. So we do need to reduce spending. It's just akin to how somebody would be getting out of debt. You have to go work at it from both ends. You have to cut spending on one end and maybe get a second job on the other. But also the U.S. is in a unique position to do some things that a lot of people are not in a position to do. Let's take, for instance, the gold reserve that we have. That gold is pegged at $78 an ounce.
Yeah, they could repeg it at the current value. They've talked about that.
They could also do that. So that's another particular thing that they could do to help.
But I mean, James, your side, I mean, the Democrats, I mean, we could just tax the rich, right? Just tax the hell out of the rich. And
you know what? I was thinking that as well, because that's what's really purported. And then we looked into it a little bit further.
Rich people bail out the U.S., right?
It's working great for New York. You hear the governor
that's a little bit
begging
dynamic,
people
more
to come down
dynamic
to Palm
than that.
Beach and bring people back. Come on, man.
Oh yeah,
we know that we can't just raise taxes our way out of this situation, because if increasing productivity isn't going to help, then simply taxing the rich even more doesn't make sense either, because a lot of the rich people don't keep their money in actual liquid wealth. If you look at Elon, he doesn't have 800 billion just sitting in a bank. It's sitting in Tesla stock. And if you were to sell all that off, well, that would cause a tremendous tidal wave and instability in the markets, causing cataclysmic proportions. So to people who are not thoroughly educated in the market, that seems like a simple solution. Tax the rich. And that's not necessarily fair. So, and it's not thorough as well. So it's important for people to understand that, especially on the left, that, hey, taxing the rich isn't out of this. Again, it is cutting things on one side and decreasing spending on the other, increasing productivity on the other side. But it is also making sure that there is fair taxation in the correct way. And that's something that, let's face it, we're never going to agree about, no matter what, even interdependent inside of our own political classes as well. Something I found a little bit interesting that you touched on, Chris, I just want to bring it up quickly. You mentioned Social Security, and I can't remember the CEO's name, whether it was Blackstone or BlackRock. And he said that there's a major opportunity loss that's going on within Social Security. He said, what if we just put Social Security in the market? Now, this money, it's generally put in as secure capital. It's going to be backed with U.S. bonds. But if we put it in the market, it'd be growing extremely well, and it would be less of a burden to the actual market. Chris, Nagy, what do you guys think about that particular strategy?
Go ahead, Stephen. I'm kind of just reading the comments here. I have some takes on that.
Yeah, no, I was reading the comments too. I mean, good stuff coming in. It's
I love this one right here. I can't not read that. No problem if you own the printing press. Yes, but let me add one caveat. No problem if you own the printing press and you have the currency used worldwide and to value oil. See, key thing when we get into this Iran talk.
I mean, that, if you inflate the currency enough, I mean, it's one way to start paying down the debt.
Digital dollar, maybe another way, peg the dollar to a digital, stable coin. That could kind of be the same thing as what James was talking about with change the peg on gold. But I mean, I think that's the big thing. If you listen to, BlackRock and what they're talking about, that's essentially what they're all saying. The digital dollar is going to be the bailout.
Yeah, can we get a fact check on this, though? The U.S. owns most of its own debt. They are their own bank, literally. Is it just like to the debt to like Social Security, or
no? What they're talking about is the treasuries.
Oh, the treasuries. Okay.
How much the U.S. government owns in their own treasuries with the bond repo and everything else. Yeah.
It says, yes, the United States owns the vast majority of its own national debt, roughly 70 to 75%. 70 to 75%.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. Yeah. But I mean, listen, if we look to history as the the path through, really, you got to look at World War II, probably one of the only other times, if we're talking about deficits and debt, only other times where the U.S. has had that similar ratio where like literally there's no turning back, there's no way out. And and I want to preface, this is not a quick fix. I think it took 15 or 20 years, but by increasing GDP, by bringing manufacturing, because that was obviously during that era, that was a major industrial boom. They were able to increase GDP, which it's kind of like, when you got a credit card, and you're maxed out in your credit card and, your debt to income ratio is shot. One of the solutions, and it's kind of just a smoke and mirrors game, is to call the credit cards, increase the balance, increase the limit on your credit card. So now that brings your percentage of debt to income down, even though you didn't pay anything down, you just increased the capacity. That's very similar to kind of what you're talking about here. Is you're talking about capacity. You're not fixing the problem. But here's the thing, and I know Jim said, you gotta pay down debt, you gotta reduce expenses. I totally get that. I think we all could sit here, in our comfy little chairs in our houses, our offices, and say, oh, the government's got to cut expenses, Doge, they should have cut expenses, that's what they got to do. But hold on. Do you realize, like, for the government to cut expenses, for any politician, left, right, middle, doesn't matter, for them to cut expenses means they're hurting someone in their voter pool. They got to take something away. You can't just cut. You have to, there's fat and things, yeah, but not enough to make a difference. The big things like Social Security, which we clearly know is broke. It's basically bankrupt. Social Security was never meant to be what it is today, and it now has just been abused over and over. Like, that's bankrupt. Medicare, Medicaid, shit, don't even get me started. But in order to cut the real expense, the real fat that would make a difference, you have to take things away from your voters. And I'm Sorry, but in today's world, and you guys can go back in history and find what is the end, what is the definition of the end of democracy? And it is when politicians or people find a way to buy votes. And I think they've figured that out. So they're all buying votes. I mean, Biden bought votes, Trump bought votes. They're all buying votes. So unless you're willing to take things away from people, which if you're going to run on, hey, I'm going to reduce the U.S. deficit and I'm going to reduce Social Security payments, I'm going to reduce Medicaid payments, I'm going to reduce or just cut out Medicare, and then we're going to have a balanced budget. Do you think anyone's going to do that? Nope. Not while telling you they're doing it. Anyway, we beat this thing to death. But I love the comments. They're good.
Really good.
All right. Well, should we move on?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
All right. Next thing I want to talk about, energy. So the energy blockade, obviously the Iran war is kind of, we got some weird things happening. You know, I know this isn't part of the energy, but it is part of energy. Here's an interesting thing, James, and I don't know if you've really looked at this or some of you have or have not. You know how Trump came on a couple of days ago, the market popped up like 1,000 points. I think it finished like 700 up that day. And it was speculation that, you know, Trump and the administration was working with Iran to find an end to the war. But then, like, and this could just be conspiracy theory shit or fake news, but it basically appears that Iran came on and was like, what? Who the hell are they talking to? We haven't talked to anybody. Like, we're not talking about negotiations and ending this war. Nobody's even called us. It kind of be like James being like, yeah, Chris called me and said he was giving me a raise and he was going to basically do this and this. And then someone asked me and I'm like, I didn't talk to James. It's interesting how it's going on. So is it real or is it not? Anyway, well, let's get back to the energy blockade. James, you want to lead this one too?
Yeah, so what's going on is Cuba right now is being blockaded from any type of oil imports. Mexico said, you know what, we're going to play ball. We're not going to challenge the United States with this energy blockade that's going on to Cuba. And Russia, actually under, I believe it was a Taiwanese flag, said, you know what, we're going to send some oil over to Cuba because, as you know, they have a longstanding partnership as well. But unfortunately, Cuba is struggling without oil. They're going very long without their energy, and hospitals are being affected. Now, there is a caveat, there's a nuance to this. If you're a private industry in Cuba, then you're allowed to have energy, you're allowed to have oil. But if you are a hospital, because they have a state set up for their medical system, hospitals are going without energy, and unfortunately, there's a runoff effect of that as well. If we're going out to, we're saying places like Australia, which we mentioned before, Australia does not have its own domestic oil production. They have oil there, but they don't have the refineries there to actually make it into something usable like diesel fuel in order to make these things happen. And you may have heard about what's going on in the Philippines as well, where the government itself is saying, let's go down to a 4-day work week. Please work from home, because there's a run on gas prices, and anybody who's hoarding gasoline or diesel fuel will be arrested. So this particular war that we're having in the Middle East, again, unfortunately, is having worldwide ramifications about this. And it has a lot of people screaming about being energy independent. But there's something to understand about being energy independence. For instance, the United States at one point was the #1 oil exporter in the entire world, but we still weren't energy independent. And the question is why? And you guys know why we're not energy independent, correct?
Joe Biden.
That is the most MAGA answer I've ever heard in my life.
Democrats.
Well, I mean, let's consider something.
Oh, I don't know if that's all of it, but
Galveston and in the Port of America, Mexico, we've got oil refineries down there. But we have oil refineries in Texas and in Galveston, but they actually refine the wrong type of oil. They refine that heavy, thick, West Texas crude,
like used for manufacturing.
Yes. And unfortunately, like, we can't use it. Now, the oil that comes from Venezuela, we can refine that. The oil that comes from Canada, we can do that. But the shale that we have domestically, we can't refine, which is why we actually export that out to Saudi Arabia, because they are newer.
Why can't we refine?
But each refinery
we need the
cost
refineries
billions and billions of dollars to actually.
And why aren't we building those? And why aren't companies investing in the U.S. to build those? Because
regulation, red tape, regulations and red tape. It's easy to Google.
Democratic policy, though.
Yes, it's regulation, red tape. It's 100% what you said.
regulation,
Right.
cost, expense. Why do that when it's cheaper just to send it overseas? It's not just regular
weird shit
Democrat
going on.
policy.
What happened
I
to
mean,
America first? All these America first people. Like, if you want to protect
I
America,
mean,
we gotta
well,
invest and
remember,
build this stuff. Then. Why are
energy
we
is
relying on
more
other
than just
countries?
oil, though.
We're
And
never
in
going to be able to
all-
have electricity off solar panels in this day and age and batteries, and like we need oil. Like, so why aren't we investing in building these refineries?
I think we are now, Stephen. And we're getting
Yeah,
commitments from other countries to build very, very, different manufacturing plants and refineries. I mean, there's definitely a big push to bring refineries here, but it's a 10-year plan.
Good. Let's do it.
Yeah, and that's going to take 10 years. By that time, a whole new, particular political party could be in place, or just the political agenda of the same party.
Why
could be
nothing
in
ever
place.
gets done.
But it'll just be, nope, we're not going to do that. And we're seeing that just with the wind farm that we're going to be talking about momentarily. A new political regime comes in, ixnays everything that was happened from the previous political party, and we're, no pun intended, but we're dead in the water. So these energy companies really can't commit to these things.
Before we move to the USA section, I just think there's a couple comments that are very worthy of talking about. Number one here, Hammer Success Systems talking about private wealth strategy, which also, could be very much like what we teach with Be Your Own Banker. And, he's talking about how, historically these types of strategies have been reserved to families of significant wealth, namely Rockefellers, Morgan Stanleys, but it's all available to everybody today. Like, and I'm not trying to make a commercial out of this, but you can't disagree. You can't not see it. I mean, right now, people really need to be in a hurry to getting assets in places that the government and people can't see, privatized assets like specially designed whole life policies and privatized banking systems. And, I don't know exactly what, Hammer Success Systems is, but private wealth strategy, probably very similar in different things. You all need to be in a real big hurry. We're going to be covering a lot of that on the 3-day about what that hurry needs to look like, because a lot of people are just blinded by the lights right now. They're sitting there being like, oh, there's all going to be okay. It's all going to be fine. The market's going to go back up. And if it doesn't, you don't have a backup plan. And I think people need to figure that out, structure their assets outside. Another one, this was an interesting Jim Collins, we know well. It's bouncing around here. Right here, he was, Trump and the GOP has lost me as a voter. So I hear that a lot with all the stuff that Trump's doing. I hear a lot of people are like, I'm not voting for Trump. But the question I'd really ask is, who are you going to vote for? That's the problem we have right now. Like, let's all be really honest with ourselves. Like, there really is no good options. Like, if you really want to boil it down, like, if you were to today just kind of look at the landscape of like the Republican, Democrat in the middle, like who is available to vote for, who are you going to vote for? Like, you going to vote for Kamala?
Gavin
You're going to vote for Gavin fucking Newstead? Like, that is the worst possible choice you could ever, well, I haven't seen who the choices are, so I got to be careful about saying that, but that's about as bad as it gets. I mean, he's done nothing but a knock-up job over there in California, right? How many of you live in California? How's your boy Gavin doing over there? Doing pretty good, right? Yeah. You get kind of about as good as Kathy Hochul does here. Yeah, I would assume it's probably about a level playing field. So I think, Jim, the big question is, I'm not saying anything of bringing that to front, but like, who do you vote for? Like, it's kind of a little bit of an issue these days. Anyway, and then one other one here with Scott King saying the Genius Act, which is the act, and then there's the Clarity Act coming. We've been following this very closely, which is paving the way. It's the first legitimate piece of legislation paving the way for stablecoin deposits in traditional banks. So if you don't think that's going to happen, what we talked about earlier of the digital dollar, we'll just call it the stablecoin or the digital dollar being pegged against the dollar, and probably, hey, listen, that could just like gold being repegged, that could just wipe the U.S. debt out, but at our expense. But it's always at our expense. So I think that's an interesting topic. Anyway, I'm not really knowing what the rest of these are. Stephen, any other good ones coming up?
Yeah. Vogel said Naugle for president.
No, absolutely not. I hate
it, man. How
hate politics.
He would hate the travel.
Take that back, Michael. You take that back.
I just wanted to welcome a fellow IBC practitioner, David Hammer, to the show. He's been very active in the chat today. So what's going on, David? Thanks for being here.
I knew it. I knew he was talking. See, I didn't even know. And I knew he was talking about infinite banking concepts. And he's an IBC practitioner. So welcome.
Love it.
But he's right. You better get in a big hurry to get your privatized system set up. All right. Well, with that being said, let's move on to good old fashioned USA.
My fellow Americans,
You know, we've said it a lot, and I think it's a funny thing is, you know, when you have situations like TSA right now, TSA agents not getting paid, and, you know, now you got ICE agents sitting there handing out water because, I mean, ICE agents, you know, they really don't know how to run x-ray machines. They haven't been trained on it. It's kind of a knee-jerk reaction. So there's a lot of video out there of like the ICE agents and the police just sitting there handing out water. I mean, hey, it's great gesture, but is it helping the lines? I don't know where the lines are, but is it helping, you know, relieve the pressure of all the TSA agents who are just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't live without a paycheck. I'm done. I don't think so. But the whole point is when we look at this whole thing and we look at what's going on out there with the 60,000 TSA agents, I simply don't understand why we can't get this over the finish line. But what we found here is maybe the reason. There's a lot of talk of the government wanting to take the TSA private. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want it to be on the government payroll. They don't want it to be on government pension. They don't want to pay the benefits. So they're like, let's just allow this to go private. And it's kind of brilliant, sick, but brilliant way to do it. I mean, like, don't pay them, make them leave, create pain, massive pain. And then the solution is, all right, well, we've got this solution from this private company that's going to come in. You know, the government's going to hire this private company to take over and do all the TSA, and they're going to do it better and blah, 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 blah. And boom, now you've just privatized TSA. What do you guys think about that? I mean, that probably is exactly what's happening here.
Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's a big manipulation. I mean, if you consider the fact that there's been 7 bills introduced by the Democrats to give TSA, the Secret Service, and other parts of the government funding so that they can operate as normal, just because there's a beef between the Democrats and ICE, they shouldn't be implicated in this whole battle. And the Democrats are doing what they can to actually fight this, but the people who work these jobs are being held in the middle. Now, we understand that there's a lot of blow up about how long these lines are at the airports. Chris, I know that you said you just went to Dallas. I've checked in with my friends and family who've traveled recently, and smaller airports are not being hit with these massive long lines as much as major areas. Even some people are saying Atlanta is, which is America's busiest airport, it isn't as bad as people say. People, you know, out of Chicago, 2 airports, it's bad, but it's not terrible. But it's just the idea of seeing somebody who's working for free and then somebody else who's getting paid to be there, aka ICE, standing right behind them, just somehow doesn't make sense. Are they actually making the process faster? The answer has been a resounding no. And people are not feeling very secure there as well.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys know that? Oh, sorry, James, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and just really quickly, I mean, if you want to privatize TSA, okay, then do it the traditional way, but don't use it through political manipulation. I just feel that just screams dirty government and exactly what people have fought so long in this country for.
Yeah, but TSA is optional. So there are airports such as San Francisco International that have private security. They don't use TSA.
That's correct.
It's an optional thing now.
I truly, and I know I'm going to go against the grain here, but I do believe that privatizing TSA would be a positive move. That's just my.
Yeah,
I think
there's no service.
Yeah, better. I think you'd have much better service. I think they would take their job a lot more serious. I feel like you'd have, just I don't know. I mean, government has never been good at running any industry. None. I mean, maybe the war machine, but they're not good at running any industry. So, like, to think that TSA is better being government run versus privatized, I disagree. I mean, listen, like, just take SpaceX and put it up against NASA. Which one's more efficient? Like,
we'll see what happens. I think we're 9 or 10 days away from the moon launch.
But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Again, it isn't the fact that it shouldn't be privatized. It's the way that they're going about it. If they're going to squeeze and use them as political pawns in this whole chess match between ICE and the Democrats, that isn't the way things should be getting done.
Who's using them as, no, the Democrats are using them as the pawns. What are you talking about, dude?
Because, well, wait a minute. Hold on, Nagy. I think you overlooked something that I said.
Why do you want to eliminate ICE?
7.
Why don't you vote to have IDs in elections? You guys are all about fraud.
How do you explain 7 proposals submitted by the Democrats to open up TSA.
Bullshit proposals. Go read them. They're garbage.
Well,
They
how are
all
they garbage?
eliminate ICE. What is the point of this country without immigration enforcement?
They're not saying like don't
It's
even.
absurd, dude. It's absurd. You cannot blame Republicans for this.
Think of things. Let's let them
Anyway,
use the correct warrants. So we're moving from TSA to ICE, and you're saying that these are
because
both.
that's what it's all about. That's why they won't fund TSA is because of ICE. Period. That's why Democrats are not funding TSA. 1,000%. Dude.
Okay, so we agree that ICE is pretty much a big plot point. So let the argument sustain about ICE. Let that be argued and debated independently. But right now, ICE is getting paid
not have
more
immigration enforcement.
than TSA.
Come on, dude. That's ridiculous.
Okay, that's
Look at Scott King.
It's a clean
right
funding bill, period. It's a clean funding bill. Like Democrats are not voting for it because they don't want to have immigration in this country enforcement. It's crazy.
My man, look who's back. Look who's back.
Who's that?
This is me.
Scott?
No. But yeah, I mean, we're going to disagree about it. I got to stand on that, though. No, just let TSA get funded. Let the Secret Service get funded.
Yes, exactly.
All
Tell
right.
the Democrats to vote.
But and then since a lot of us agree, like these broad scope bills are a huge deterrent to the progress of this country. So this broad funding bill is a deterrent to this country. They're looking to make it more specific, and it's being held up. And I mean, the more that people are standing on this on either side, the more that the people, the actual travelers, are paying the price. It may be blown out of proportion. We both agree upon this, but it can escalate to something much bigger.
There was another 18-year-old college girl just killed in Chicago last week by an illegal that should not have been here.
Yeah, how many, Steve? How many people get killed by domestic Americans? That's not a good argument. That's a terrible argument.
Because Americans kill Americans, it's okay now for illegal.
Oh my! But somebody got killed by an illegal immigrant in Chicago.
That's a heck of an argument.
I mean, like Americans kill each other. That's completely invalid. It's actually
your 18-year-old daughter. Would you say the same
it's
thing?
actually statistically proven.
If it was your 18-year-old
that
daughter,
undocumented immigrants in America are less likely to commit a violent crime than naturally born citizens.
That's false.
That is actual fact.
False. Per capita, look it up. It's false.
Okay, so we're going to have to establish a baseline because we're just going to go back and forth arguing. Oh, they're worried about this, and we're trying to talk about TSA. So let's not keep jumping around here.
But they're not funding TSA because of illegal immigration enforcement.
I have got to get a popcorn maker here. This is the perfect.
This is absolutely pointless right here, Steve. You obviously are saying, look, I don't agree about anything else about this. You're not open to a new idea, and that's okay, because I'm willing to listen to what you're saying, but the points that you're bringing up don't really resonate with me in particular. Meaning, I'm like, it's still not answering my principal objection. And because of that, we're kind of reaching an impasse. Now we're actually bringing in two different data sets. One where I'm saying, hey, look, undocumented immigrants are less likely to commit crimes. And you're saying it is. So obviously now we're citing two different information sources. And while the peanut gallery is going to be saying, oh, James is an idiot, James is a buffoon. That's because let's face it, I'm a progressive sitting in a conservative room. And most of you guys would not be willing to say the same thing in a progressive room because you know that they'll bring up the facts, but you're going to say that they're fake news. Hence why we have this particular impasse. We have to recognize this.
Shall we talk about wind?
Let's talk about wind because it literally ties to an article that we just talked about before.
This is fact. This isn't fiction or thing. They're paying a French energy firm, Total Energies, $928 million. We'll just round up to $1 billion because who cares? Close enough to relinquish its offshore wind leases in New York and North Carolina. They lost several court cases to stop wind farms. The government is simply buying the company out with taxpayer money. Okay. And listen, I think that's a bit of a stretch. Taxpayer money. Everything the government does is taxpayer dollars. I mean, that's essentially kind of what they're using. Innovative agreement. Total Energies is required to reinvest that $1 billion directly into U.S. fossil fuel projects. So, I mean, listen, this is capitalism as well. I mean, if you want to drive oil and you want to basically kind of force a narrative, well, you buy out the competition and you force them to put the money into the thing you want to push, which is oil.
Yeah, now just there's a little caveat here where
I
it
know I
says
kind of
after
painted an
losing
easy
several
picture
court
there.
cases, that's actually the Trump administration that lost those court cases to stop the wind farms. So that's just a little something that needs to be brought up. Just let it be set up. I mean, we both know that Trump is a huge fan of petroleum-based traditional energy sources, you know, coal, liquid natural gas, and oil. But the project is already underway. Okay. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's going to create more jobs. And then guess what? You've got all these investments that are still coming in from all these other countries for oil projects. Why can't the two of them just exist at the same time? Why shut this down? We're talking about an investment from another country into America, but you don't, because there's a beef with this particular type of energy, you got to actually stop the whole thing. When that could be actually going to jobs. There could be people maintaining these jobs, well-paying jobs, maintaining these windmills that have been proven to actually generate energy. Don't believe what the landman or Billy Bob Thornton is telling you in his fictitious show. That's already been proven to be a lie. And let both coexist at the same time. I just don't see why this is a net positive for America.
Well, I mean, whether it is or isn't, there's one thing that is very hard to argue the legitimacy of it, especially at this present point, and that is our focus on oil right now is really important, not for the reasons you think, not just because we need oil to run our cars and our tractors and our factories. It's important because the U.S. dollar relies on it. And right now, and I heard this many, many years ago, a hedge fund manager, Bridger's dad, a hedge fund manager, spoke, and he did a phenomenal speech, but he talked about the Fed. And he said, the Fed's number one job is to protect the dollar at all costs. Mm-hmm. All costs. That includes anything and everything is at stake protecting the dollar. And this is the Fed, and this is also the U.S. government as well. Because without the dollar being the currency that values oil, the United States can't stay on top. Just won't happen, can't happen. So the only hope the U.S. has at all is the dollar. And the dollar, and I'll add to oil, because oil right now is the fundamental for the world, not just the United States, for the world. You're seeing it. I mean, we talked about Cuba, we talked about Australia. We didn't even bring in the Eurozone and any of Europe, like the issues they're having over there. But right now, I think everything you're seeing, and this is just, and listen, folks, this is just my opinion in all transparency, disclaimer, whatever. This is just my opinion. I think everything you're seeing in the news, I think the entire Iran war, I think every one of these wars or disputes that we've had, Venezuela, everything, just all of it, all comes down to one single solitary thing, and that is protect the dollar, control oil. And that is probably why Trump is 100% focused on oil. That is probably why we're having this discussion about this French company and how they're forcing it to be invested back into the fossil fuels. You don't need to like it. You don't need to agree with it at all. But if you value what we have here in the United States of America, which you all should, and if you don't, get on a freaking plane and go somewhere else. Like, you do not belong here. And I say this to people, and I would say it right to their face. Even if they swung at me, started a fight, I would still say this. If you don't think the United States is the greatest country in the world to live in, then you need to get on a plane and go somewhere else. And I'll buy your plane ticket. Okay. I'll go on the off surge pricing and I'll buy you a cheap ass back of the plane airline ticket, and you can ship your ass back to China or wherever the hell you want to go, just not here. If you don't understand how valuable and how privileged we are to live in this country. And I think that is the single solitary thing. You pick everything else away. Like, I would not want my daughter to grow up and live anywhere other than the United States of America. And that is a fact. So if that is your belief, if that is something that you believe like I do, well, then you just have to state the serenity prayer and realize that some of the things are just out of your control. These arguments are really useless because we do nothing that will change any of it. But we need to believe in the United States of America. We need to understand that some of this, not all of this, that is happening is to save the United States of America, because I do think it is in jeopardy right now. Ray Dalio tells the story far better than I could. But if you follow Ray Dalio and you look at what's going on, we got major pressure right now. And if the dollar goes, there goes the United States of America. And if oil gets redirected or shifted, or we don't control the flow of oil, there goes the dollar too. So that's my little rant, and that's all I have to say about it.
Hey, Chris, I would like for you to explain something to me because I sincerely don't know. I believe that at one point the U.S. like their bond rating was like AAA, which was the best. Is that correct? And then it got reduced to AA.
Yeah, I think it got downgraded.
So how does that play into effect with the valuation of the U.S. dollar? Because I'm seeing, okay, we've got all this debt. We are trying to control the oil, which we know plays a huge factor in the valuation of the U.S. dollar. If we had more industry, why wouldn't we also want to make sure that we have these things such as wind farms, which will actually strengthen our energy independence?
No, I totally agree, but you got to put oil first because of the connection to the dollar, wind and all that energy. It's all important. Okay. I don't discount that. Like, is it as efficient as the Dems wanted to make it? Is it like the Green New Bill or the Inflation Reduction Acts did nothing to reduce inflation? But is all that relevant? I just think they pushed too hard, too fast, and now you see it. You cannot. You work for Carvana. Like, you cannot disregard that they made some mistakes in going as heavy and hot into all electric. Okay, these auto manufacturers took, and I think we're just at the beginning, major lumps on the head, following what the government told them. Because listen, like, love it or hate it, GM is owned by the U.S. government. Like, they got bailed out, and at that point, the U.S. tells them what to do. I don't care. The government tells them what to do. I don't care what you believe. But because of that, like, they went 100% into electric. They put billions and billions and billions of dollars into electric. Ford, GM, all of them, Mercedes, and they can't move these electric cars off the lot. Period. They're trying to give them away. Nobody wants them. And I owned an electric car because, hey, I got to be a champ and give it a whirl. And I will say, I had a Tesla. I think it was a beautiful car, unbelievable piece of technology, but was it suitable for me? And I don't do a ton of driving, but I like to go to Ellicottville, which is a little over an hour. And I didn't have the juice to get back. So, like, it didn't work. We're not there yet. If the government back during the Biden administration would have went to this hybrid model, the Toyota Prius model, dude, that shit would have worked. And that's what we'd all have. We all would be right now driving hybrid vehicles because that technology worked, but they didn't. They missed. They went too heavy into it. And that's where they went. That's where they made the mistakes, man. So
I feel.
So I'm just making the point. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just making the point that you can't disagree that they missed the mark. Now, is Trump missing the mark on some things? Probably. I guarantee you. They all missed the mark.
Definitely missing the mark.
But that was a big miss. That was a huge miss. And now
there was a huge reluctance, especially upon the conservatives, because they felt like EVs were being shoved down their throats. And you know what, Chris, I see exactly what you're talking about. I see what you're talking about. I concede your point. The technology isn't there to suit most people's needs. I mean, but also a lot of people
here in New York, James. Just real quick, one more thing. Look at what Hochul's doing right now in New York. She's trying to not ask us, not give us options, but force down our throat that we have to get rid of our gas stoves, our gas furnaces. We have to go all electric with heat pumps. Now, listen, like, if you don't
people are against that, though,
folks, like, you don't quite understand this, but that shit ain't going to work here. It's not going to work here. And I don't know if any of you cook on electric stoves, but it isn't nearly as good as cooking on a gas stove.
Well, hold on, Chris. I mean, every new build that I've been to in Florida has electric stoves. Every new build that I go to in Canada, which is tremendously colder than the United States and Western New York, runs on electric. So I can't really, while I appreciate how gas works, I can't say that it won't work as well because I've been to colder climates and it's been all electric.
Why outlaw it?
Do you like grilling, James? Do you like
outlaw
grilling?
gas stoves? Why not give people a choice?
Well, that's just it. Just give people the choice. That's what the point that I was getting to is just give people the choice. But I want to just say that here's something. We also know that we like to be in the front of technology. Here's something that's happened because of this fuel conflict that we've had in the Middle East. Because oil prices have gone up so much in the past few weeks, EV sales across Europe and Asia have been skyrocketing, and their technology is going to propagate into something that's a better product, and then a better product, and then a better product, outpacing whatever Elon is doing domestically here in the United States. And we know that Tesla is one of the Magnificent Seven. Now, I'm going to try to make this walk as short as possible so that we can drink this water here. What happens when China's technology, India's technology, in terms of battery storage, in terms of battery transmission, outpaces the United States, and we are no longer the leader in that particular industry because we said, we doubled down on oil and gas and all of these other particular technologies. What happens with BYD is a better functioning
make a better hybrid.
Well,
right?
that's just it. We have the hybrids,
options,
but the batteries that are in these hybrids are going to be better from other companies. That's what I'm alluding to.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Okay, so if we're looking to be the best, and we know, look, we see that Elon's building these robots. He just unveiled this semi truck that people, the truck drivers so far from the press release, absolutely love. But the thing is,
this is another
based
fact,
upon the fact that he was able to trade these energy credits so that he could build up his company, and now those energy credits are gone. So now Tesla is taking a step back.
Yeah. So let me just piggyback on Chris. I'm just trying to keep us not from going down super rabbit holes because we're going to run out of time. But let's go with what Chris Ash said here, and this is another fact, and anyone living in California actually lives this firsthand. So with oil, the infrastructure on the oil is old, but it is efficient and it does work. And like that's a fact. Now, do we need more refineries? 100%. Do we need, new pipelines? 100%. But the current infrastructure for oil and gas is sufficient to run the United States now and into the foreseeable future with just the infrastructure we have today. That's fact. Okay. That is undeniable, proven fact. We can operate. Energy. The infrastructure for energy is not even close to being sufficient to even run half or even a quarter of what the Biden administration's plan was and what they were trying to force down the throat. The infrastructure simply isn't there.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it can't be, but it will take a decade for that infrastructure to be even sufficient to run the current needs from an electric standpoint just today. And that is without all the future AI super centers.
At some point, Chris, it's still going to need to be upgraded no matter what. So
100%.
when you're saying, where's our infrastructure?
If
we have 400 billion to send to Iran. I'm sure that we could spend 200 billion in a local development for us to upgrade our energy infrastructure. And it could be done with some of these corporations who are causing our particular energy infrastructure to be all thrown out of loop anyway, which we've discussed on a previous episode. Like people are villainizing solar panels right now, but right now, a lot of those people are wishing they took advantage of them right now because their energy bills are all out of whack.
Solar panels. That's a drastic statement. I've never once heard a single person villainize solar panels. Like,
yeah.
I
literally worked in the solar industry.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there, I'm sure some people you would say the GOP are against solar panels, but like, that's not the masses. It's really
okay. But there are people who are villainizing because they've fallen for the rhetoric behind that big oil is like, this is terrible. Solar panels, they're terrible. They're this or that.
I've never heard that either.
I've never heard
it. It was one of our top.
That must be a CNN.
It was one of our industry's top objections in Florida.
Stuff coming out of
your mouth. Florida, and people were making a lot of money in Florida, but they felt that it was actually un-American. Go figure.
You got a lot of MS Now talking points coming out today, James. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know, James.
Like MS Now talking points, but it's my truth. And it's also truth that's out there. And I have people.
And James, that's great. Because like I have my truth. Stephen has his truth. You can have your truth. But like, sometimes we do have to kind of come away from our truths and get down to like the truth. And I think there is pretty much zero truth to the fact that, people hate solar panels. I don't know a single person.
Lynn Green agrees with every Republican thing that we say on here. And she's got 20 panels on her home. So
okay. So let's, and then we're going to keep going back though. So when we keep talking about the energy infrastructure, we have money for all of this. We have literally a company that's being forced or coerced to spending $1 billion from a wind project that isn't being completed and going to go into oil shale. Why can't that go into energy infrastructure? It's not if the money is available. It's where do we want to direct our money from?
That's a good statement. Yeah. I think that's a big truth is, where we direct our money is where the problem is. The flow of money is where our problem is. But you know what? That's not to redirect this, but that's what we teach every day is how people should flow their money, their cash flow into better sources. But how few, like if you really like think about what we teach, like how few people actually take action on it. It's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent. Like, but yet we all know if anybody, is here that does it, that is the truth. That is the right way. That is absolutely the better path. But yet people aren't going to go that direction because it's different. It requires effort. It requires work. It requires learning something new. And people just don't want to learn something new. We just, I hate to say society is just, leaning too much into AI to do the things that we should understand, and we're giving it away. And I love, there's something we didn't really cover it, but it came up in our discussion. And this is kind of more here. Actually, let's flip this because this is more over on this one. I got to flip this just to make this proper. What the? Yeah, this is just what the?
Pretty much
with oh gosh, I just forgot my train of thought now. Damn it. I should have never clicked the damn button. Stephen, what was that we were just throwing around in WTF? We were throwing around not TSA stuff, not Delta stuff.
we were talking about energy.
And the attorney. So there was a federal, in New York, there was a federal ruling that people that like when they're in court, if they're using ChatGPT or some of these AI sources, it's dismissed. Like they're basically, and I'm saying this wrong, but there's this Emily Katina. She's a Michigan attorney, and she's basically saying this new law is making it so if somebody is using AI as their defense, it is basically useless. They are not accepting it. I don't know if that's to protect attorneys' jobs or what it is, but there's going to be a lot more stuff coming like that because AI just is not the single source of truth. As a matter of fact, it is far, far from that.
Yeah, well, an attorney was using AI to find case law to support the case, and it was all made up. It was all made up case law. None of it actually existed. Mm-hmm. So she was putting up this huge defense, and the other attorney or judge or somebody was like, "That's actually completely bullshit. None of it's real."
Thank you.
And so I think they're making laws now around that because of it.
And the other thing too that I think is worthy, and this isn't in the topics, but Delta suspends perks for Congress members citing the government shutdown. So Delta's taking the stand and saying, "Hey, you sorry sacks of shit in government, like no more perks for you guys because you guys can't even figure out how to do your job. Why are you getting perks?" And I think if we just kind of went more to, Congress and basically just took things away from them, right? Like if there's budget issues, cut their salaries and watch how fast stuff starts getting done. I know this is pipe dream. It will never happen, but it sure would be a way to get things to go through. And I love that Delta's taking the stand. It makes me proud that I mostly fly Delta. Not 100%.
Really quickly, in reference to the legal battle, what people need to be aware of is if you do a search on like, how do I get away with cutting off somebody's toe? And if you put that into ChatGPT, Claude, or anything like that, because that's a public search, it is no longer protected by attorney-client privilege. And a lot of people are worried. It's like, oh, wait, if I search something, it's not protected by attorney-client privilege. Well, hold on, just don't search it. Okay, because they can search your public records, and that's one of the things that particular article was talking about there. So it's important to include that quick fact. In terms of Delta, I mean, let's face it, like they private industry needs to stand up to this government and do what they have to say. Speaking of which, it was actually proposed, and I'm not sure if anybody can pull this up, is that there is a congressman, I don't know what side of the aisle he is, he's saying like, look, Congress cannot take part in stock trades anymore. Just stop it. So it doesn't matter if it's
that passed.
Mitch, I don't think it passed. So it doesn't matter what, who it is.
Did that pass that Congress is no longer allowed to basically insider trading?
Yeah, no, it didn't pass yet. I don't think anybody's going to support it because they make too much money. I mean, think about it. Anytime they make a trade over $1,000 in any type of stock, they don't have to disclose it. They have legalized insider trading, which is why we see a lot of these Congress people, again, on both sides. And I know you like to pick on Pelosi, but
yeah, greatest stock trader of all time, Nancy Pelosi.
But we actually just had another incident just recently where Trump, let out the tweet saying that, hey, we reached a 3-day ceasefire, and somebody took out a massive oils future short and sold off oil and made a massive bet on the S&P 500 index going up and walked away, I think, with like, $1.5 million. and also went on to Polymarket and made a whole bunch of inside trades. And it isn't just that the trade was there, it was that it was done within like 5 minutes and such a large amount for these sums. So we see that there's insider trading. I am not saying it's part of the Trump family. I'm not saying it's part of any particular family. It's just that we recognize that these insider tradings are happening and the evidence is there. It smells like a duck. It looks like a duck. It sure as hell ain't no damn chicken.
All right. Well, let's we want to finish this one a little bit over, but let's finish with the Corgi Commandos escape. I think this is actually a good topic because it's a positive topic. So in China, a group of 7 dogs escaped a truck that was bound for a meat processing plant. I mean, yeah, if you don't know, in China, I guess they eat a lot of dogs. Sick. But a Corgi led, or a Corgi, which that's a type of dog, right?
Yeah.
And there was led the formation, navigating 10 miles through highways and fields to lead the pack, including an injured German Shepherd, back to their home village. So the discussion is all about the Corgi can coordinate, multi-species tactical retreat, navigating 10 miles of just crazy, difficult terrain. I'm trying to elaborate and make this better than it is. Why can't the U.S. Senate coordinate a simple funding bill in heading on a 2-week-long vacation? Anyway, that's the wrap of WTF.
Heck yeah.
Steven, do you have a dog?
I do have a big Bernedoodle that weighs about 90 pounds. It looks like a bear. It's actually the same dog the Kesslers have.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Nice.
All right. Well, with that being said, folks, we're going to wrap. Sorry we went a little over, but it was super fun. We had to get that out. Hopefully, we'll see you this afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern. Go to chrisnaugle.com. That's chrisnaugle.com. 2 index finger swipes. Register for Wealth webinar. We'll see you at 1 p.m. Eastern. Also, do not forget, this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we've got the Blueprint virtual event happening. It is one of our best virtual events we do. Money School Essentials was epic back in the day, but this is next level. So if you're not registered, get registered now. We'll put the link up in the comments here, but we'll be talking about that on on Wealth Webinar as well. Until then, we'll see you guys very, very soon. There's the link.
Thank you. Ow!